Mike was 37 years old, swinging a hammer on a construction site. 10 years earlier, he had served his country. After that, he tried sales, failed in business, and lost almost everything. At 37, most people think it's too late to start over, but that's exactly when Mike began building the life that would eventually make him wealthy. Mike finished serving his country when he was about 25 years old. During his time in the military, he had learned discipline, leadership, and how to operate under pressure. The military gave him structure, clear rules, and a mission. But when he returned to civilian life, things were very different. There were no clear instructions about what to do next. Like many people leaving the military, Mike had to start over. He needed a job. So he entered the world of sales. Mike began working for a company that sold products to businesses. The job paid commissions, which meant his income depended entirely on how well he could convince people to buy. At first, it was uncomfortable. He had to deal with rejection every day. People hung up the phone on him. Some laughed at him. Some told him to never call again. But over time, Mike learned something valuable. Sales taught him confidence. It taught him communication. And most importantly, it taught him how businesses actually make money. Eventually, Mike became good at it. He was earning decent commissions and living a normal life. But something kept bothering him. Even when he made a big sale, he realized that the real winner was still the company he worked for. His effort built someone else's business. That thought stayed in the back of his mind. After several years in sales, Mike decided he didn't want to spend his entire life working for someone else. So he tried something risky. He started his first business. The idea seemed promising. Mike believed that if he worked hard enough, the business would succeed. But the reality of entrepreneurship was much harder than he expected. There were costs he didn't see coming. There were supply problems. There were mistakes in planning. Eventually, the business collapsed. Mike lost money. More importantly, he lost confidence. For a while, he questioned whether starting a business had been a mistake. But that failure taught him something he would never forget. Working hard is not the same as building wealth. After recovering from the failure, Mike tried again. He started another business. This time, he was wiser, but the road was still difficult. Running a business meant dealing with employees, customers, suppliers, and constant financial pressure. Some months were profitable. Other months were stressful. The experience gave Mike something that school never taught him: real financial education. But success still didn't come easily. At one point, the business struggled so much that Mike had to step away and find stable income again. Life took an unexpected turn. By his mid-30s, Mike found himself working construction. Every morning started early. The work was physical. Long days under the sun, lifting heavy materials, and dealing with the constant fatigue that comes with manual labor. Construction workers are some of the hardest working people in the world, and Mike respected the work. But every evening after the job was done, he would sit quietly and think. He had served his country. He had worked in sales. He had started businesses. And now, at 37 years old, he was swinging a hammer on a construction site. Sometimes people feel like life should already be figured out by that age. But Mike didn't see it that way. Instead, he saw something else: experience. Each stage of his life had given him a different piece of the puzzle. The military gave him discipline. Sales gave him communication and courage. Business failures gave him financial lessons. Construction gave him perspective. Working long hours in physically demanding jobs has a way of making people think deeply about the future. Mike began asking himself a question that many people avoid. What will my life look like when I'm 60? Construction work depends on physical strength, and Mike knew something simple but powerful. The body eventually slows down. That realization pushed him to start studying money more seriously. Not just earning money, understanding it. He began reading about business, economics, and investing. What surprised him the most was discovering how differently wealthy people think about money. Most people focus on income. Wealthy people focus on building systems and assets. Mike realized that his past failures were not actually failures. They were education. Sales taught him how to deal with people. Business taught him how money flows through companies. Construction reminded him why financial independence matters. By 37, Mike didn't feel late. He felt prepared. Because now he understood something that many younger people didn't. Wealth is rarely built overnight. It's built through lessons, mistakes, and persistence. So Mike made a decision. Instead of just working for money, he decided to start another business. But this time, it would be different. Mike started a business focused on financial education. He began teaching people the lessons he had learned about money, business, and investing. At first, the business was small. He hosted seminars and classes for people who wanted to understand how money really works. People trusted him because he was honest. He talked openly about his failures. He explained the mistakes he made and the lessons he learned, and people connected with that honesty. Slowly, the business began to grow. More people started attending his classes. More programs were created. But Mike didn't quit his construction job immediately. He understood something important. A business needs time to grow. So he kept working construction while building the business on the side. Eventually, the business began producing income. Mike made a rule for himself. When the business could earn about 70% of what he was making from construction, he would leave his job. That day finally came. Mike quit construction and focused fully on his financial education business. Over time, the business became a system that generated income even when he wasn't working every day. That meant the business itself became a source of passive income. After that, Mike and his wife began focusing on something else: investing. Together, they started investing in real estate. They looked for properties that could produce monthly cash flow. Over the years, their real estate investments grew. Now, Mike had multiple streams of income. Income from his education business, income from real estate, systems that worked even when he wasn't working. And eventually, by his late 50s, Mike was able to retire. Not because he stopped working completely, but because his assets were now working for him. Looking back, Mike realized something powerful. The moment that changed his life wasn't when he became wealthy. It was the moment he decided to learn how money really works. And that moment happened when he was 37 years old, standing on a construction site, wondering what his future would look like if nothing changed. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more videos about money, investing, and financial growth. And I'll see you in the next one.